Hey everybody, Brendan Smith from Heartbreaker Guitars. April 17th of 2022 of this year, we lost a dear friend and master luthier, Mr. Rick Turner of Rick Turner Guitars. As many of you may know, we had a really tight relationship with Rick and his crew, so when this happened, both us and the Turner crew and team and family, everybody was devastated. So anyway, some time has passed now, and we decided to head back to Santa Cruz to visit with everybody and not only get some stories and some anecdotes about Rick and his relationship with the crew and the family, but we just wanted to touch bases with everybody. What's going to happen with Rick Turner Guitars going forward, and just get feedback from everybody, including the crew and again the family. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy the interview, and this is dedicated to Rick Turner.
Ready to go or what?
So Rick passed over a weekend, and on Monday everybody was here because we knew that Rick would come back to work. Rick would keep moving his refrigerators and colored TVs, this is an old favorite phrase. Yeah. And there's no stopping that. I mean, the guy worked literally up until he passed. He did a bunch of woodworking. He packed his car and he drove 6 hours to Southern California. It's that kind of work ethic, and he was 78. Who's gonna stop us from doing what we're supposed to be doing? Nobody. So we're gonna keep moving it forward. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and there's no reason to stop. Rick would want us to keep going, I hope.
Essentially, my whole foray into learning how to play the guitar was standing in front of the TV and watching Fleetwood Mac's The Dance and just staring at that incredible Model 1 that Lindsey plays on that DVD. And I had such a fondness for that instrument my entire life, always wanted one. Finally acquired one last December, so I finally have some good hands-on personal experience with it. But even though I never got to meet the man, I so vastly appreciate everything that he brought to the guitar community, all of the innovations and ideas and the creativity and the way that he inspired others as well.
He was very much appreciated by the community, but I'm not sure he got the recognition for some of the things he had done throughout his career, including Alembic, the stuff with the Grateful Dead, and of course, now with Rick Turner Guitars. And I feel like there's an opportunity to elevate Rick's or the perception of people of Rick in the world to where I believe it should be. I believe he should be in the mix of people that should be recognized in terms of guitars and the practice of luthiery.
He really was a personable guy. He had a lot of stories. I mean, he lived a full life.
One thing I loved about Rick was his sense of humor. And he was always, making jokes and laughing about things, and we just it made for a good environment, a good workplace all the time. But he was still very serious and very good at what he did and liked his traditional ways of doing things. So it was definitely a mentor I respected and looked up to a lot.
Rick was larger than life. He was ever present, and he left a bigger void than a lot of people do.
One thing I loved about Rick is that he really never missed an opportunity to be silly in the shop and make people laugh. He really enjoyed just seeing other people smile. And so he'd sometimes tell jokes to, keep morale up and just be friendly with everybody.
A lot of people don't know this about Rick. Rick was a very lighthearted guy. He was the first to crack a joke. He was the first to not be serious about anything. And you gotta realize that kind of seems counterintuitive because people think that he was this intense luthier because, we respected him so much. We put him up on this pedestal because his instruments were amazing, but he was just the most laid back, down to earth guy. And one day I got a nasty message on YouTube or Facebook about something that happened business related. This was years ago. And it was early in my business career, so I was a little concerned and worried and anxious about it, and I called Rick. I can't tell you what the issue was, I don't even remember. But the customer was basically was being difficult, and I told Rick. And he says, you know what, Brendan, come. And hearing that from him was just like, hey, you know, just don't take life too seriously, move on. You know, don't let these little things get you down. And so anyway, Rick was not a serious guy. He just wasn't. He was fun-loving, silly at times, and I mean, he made masterful instruments, there's no doubt, and we all love him for it, but he was just a regular guy.
Rick and I had a complicated relationship. We hardly agreed on much at all in the guitar building, but we genuinely respected and loved each other. So it was a really profound relationship on all aspects. You know, the usual, you know, guy-to-guy stuff, the professional part of it, and then the occasional times that we had to slap each other and go, hey, come back here to you and me. Don't put on that face you put on to the world, you know. Rick had, Rick had some famosity, and every once in a while he'd get on stage and I'd slap him down, and he'd do the same for me. And what you did for us was beautiful, because I had purposely avoided trying to work with him on projects or things like that, just because why beg the complications and the differences. But this, you know, the agreement with doing this is like, we just do our own thing. We use the similar woods and the appointments and the spirit of this, and then we just go our way with it. And that brought us closer together on a project than anything we'd ever done.
Yeah,
so thanks for what you did.
You're talking about the Legends in Luthier that we did, but that was when we built 10 Model 1s and 10 fingerstyle Santa Cruz Guitar Company. That was a great project.
Yeah, beautiful guitar, beautiful design. I can't tell you how cool that was. We'd known each other for 108 years, and that was the closest we got. And I'm so glad his legacy carries on. There's a good lesson there in vanity, you know. We go to work each day hoping we look right and say the right thing and all that. But the truth is, your legacy is the totality of what you've done, what you paid forward. And Rick did a good job in the fact that his businesses and people carry it on.
I said a lot to Rick. Rick was really aware of what his influence was on me. I wasn't shy about sharing that my genesis of Luthier was part of his long before I knew who he was. I don't think I ever said thank you enough. I don't think I ever properly communicated that it means a lot to my future. And I really appreciate the opportunities that he's given me to continue to help other musicians. There's always questions. There's always things that I wish I could have asked Rick and known on technical levels and historical levels. I don't think I said thank you enough though. Yeah.
We were at this spot right here, myself, Richard Hoover, and Rick Turner, shortly before COVID. I think it was late 2019, and we were down here just shooting footage for the Legends in Luthier project, which was the guitar project where Rick and Richard built twin guitars with the same specs. Really cool project. Anyway, so we were down here. We decided to come back just for nostalgia's sake. This is the first time we've been back in Santa Cruz since the tragedy of Rick's passing, and it's nice to be here. We got to meet up with the Turner crew, great group that encouraged us to continue to work on projects such as this, and anyway, it's good to be back.
Even though I never got to meet the man, I so vastly appreciate everything that he brought to the guitar community, all of the innovations and ideas and the creativity, and the way that he inspired others as well.
I remember once, you know, he was cutting a brass tailpiece on a bandsaw, and I was standing too close to the bandsaw, and I got a piece of brass in my eye, you know, and I remember him immediately stopping everything, you know, and not admonishing me or anything like that. He just went right to save the kid mode, and he just dropped everything, and we ran to the hospital, and I had this major extraction done. But that was like the first of many little tiny shop injuries I had. You know, I'm a shop kid. I also do some guitar work, but my main business is like blacksmithing and metalwork. And so over the years, I've made a lot of metal parts for my dad. Bridges, tail pieces, knobs, pickup parts, truss rods, all kinds of stuff. And so, you know, being in that shop environment from the time I was a little kid kind of set my path forward as well. And so, like, that's my earliest, like, memory. My latest memories of my father are of him coming up to my recording studio. I'm a recording engineer as well. And hanging out in the corner and being super silent unless we looked over at him and said, "Rick, what do you think?" And then he would go on a 5-minute monologue and tell us exactly what he thought, which was really amazing. And he was there for about 5 records. And, you know, he would take time out of his busy life to just jump up to the San Francisco area and go hang out in the corner of my studio, you know, and he made so many friends. I mean, you know, I can't tell you how many bands I worked with that, like, you know, they would be calling me up and saying, "Rick's gonna be there, right?" You know, because he always had some, you know, amazingly, you know, sage advice. And so, yeah, just, there's so many memories. I could go on literally for 12 hours.
We'll just head down, carry on, 'cause what else can we do but get through? And we'll sing hallelujah, but what is that to you right now? But let's talk in a way that can give us some faith to go around. We'll hold tight as we can when it's better again, and that'll sustain me for now.
Kind of took me under his wing and just gave me the direction and the help I needed to get my business up off the ground. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Thanks for everything, Rick. I love you.
I'll hold on tighter to you, my friend,
I miss you.
when we're together again. Together again. When we're together again. When we're together